Hey guys, welcome to the shop. So since the last time we were in the shop, I've got the proportioning valve installed, and the front lines ran and attached, so everything's ready to go there. I got the sway bar installed. I'm hoping that once I get the Jeep on the ground with a little weight on it, that linkage will work out. If not, then I guess I'll need to get a longer one. If anybody knows about that, this is 2.5 inch lift and didn't come with it, so I'm assuming you don't need it, but somebody let me know if you know. I've gone ahead and put this this side back together. Today we will get the other side together. I'll walk you through how I'm going to do that. Let's see what else I've done. I've ran the emergency brake cables. I'm not liking, here I'll walk to the other side. Right here, I don't know if you can see. Maybe a better angle. See where that attaches to that plate? It's not tight. If anybody knows how to tighten that, I'm thinking about a rubber washer here maybe, or maybe finding a washer that'll fit over those prongs on the inside to give it a little more bite. But if anybody knows how to get that tighter, if you will share with me, I'd appreciate it. But while we're back here, my EFI system came with this inline filter and pump, but I don't think I'm liking it. From what I've heard, it makes a lot of noise. So I have ordered another. This guy will go in the, you can retrofit it to go inside the pump, inside the tank, I'm sorry. There we go. That guy will go in the tank. So here in the coming days, we'll get that installed. Go ahead and get the fuel lines ran all the way to the front. I got an update on my engine. So they've been waiting on 360 heads for almost 6 or 8 months. I mean, it's been a long time waiting on those heads. But they've got those now. The engine has been machined. Now it's in assembly and paint. So hopefully here in the next few weeks, we'll have an engine to go back in this thing. I would like to have it rolling by then. So yeah, that's where we are. So today, let's get set up, and I'll take you through how I'm going to rebuild that steering knuckle, the hub, get all that assembled, the axle in, brakes on it. We'll see how far we get. All right, guys, so first thing, we're going to get the ball joints pressed in. So we'll start with this lower ball joint. I'm going to use this. It's a little cumbersome, but see if we can get it. A lot of wrestling. Get this thing. So. Work here. Alright, let me snug that up a little bit. Alright, that looks pretty good. Maybe just a fuzz. Maybe that's the problem. Don't get pour 15 inside that. Alright, that looks seated to me. Alright, see if we can get the top. So I think we want this grease fitting right in this area here. Maybe right there. On this one, I think I'm going to clean out that little bit of paint there though. So let me find a razor blade or something I can get in there with. Alright, let's see if this one will go in a little easier. Let me get set up here. So we're going to want that guy and that guy. Nope. Nope. Alright guys, so off camera I was able finally to get that top ball joint on pressed in. It was somewhat of a challenge. I'll show you why that was. Let me look at this other side and I'll don't know if you can see up in there, but it's kind of angled right here, and have to have a special part of that press to be able to get that in there. The other thing is to make sure that you've got this grease zert coming out about right there, so the grease fit on it. But let me show you what I had to get. So I've got this kit here, but it doesn't have what you need for the top ball joint. So I went back and got this kit, but it doesn't have it either. So then I went online and found this one. And you see how that's kind of angled right there? That's kind of what you need for that top ball joint. So finally I got that thing pressed in. So yeah, it was not easy. So in the end, this lower ball joint is torqued to 85, and then you've got that split ring up here that you torque to 50, and then this one is torqued to 100. So I've got that done, and we are ready to move on. I've got that axle here. So we're going to have to press in the universal joint for. So we'll get set up, and that'll be our next step, is to get that universal joint replaced. All right, so I've got the short side of the axle in there, the universal joint. I'm just going to keep it loose, try to get it lined up with that cap, and get this side pressed in. So let's see how that. I think that's got it. Alright. We're just going to make sure. Yeah. Sets down there well enough for that C-clip to fit in there. Outstanding. Alright, so let's get the other side pressed in. Alright, so I got the other cap pressed in, got the clip inserted on both sides. So this one is good to go. Get the other side pressed on and we'll go on to the next step. So I got that universal joint installed on the other side of that axle, so both pieces are in there. I've got the axle reinserted, greased into the differential. I went ahead and inserted the seal back to the spindle. Next, let's go ahead and get this bracket on for the caliper. Remember that this bolt goes to the bottom. Alright, so we're going to torque that to 85 foot-pounds. So next we'll get the spindle set up, and we'll get it on and torqued. So let's get set up at the bench, and we'll get those needle bearings pressed in, and get it ready to install here. All right, so here's the spindle. On the original, it was boogered up, so I'm gonna go ahead and replace it. So I've got a new kit here. We'll go ahead and get these needle bearings installed. So I'm just gonna try to line it up as well as I can so it goes in nice and straight. And then I'm gonna use this insertion tool. This seal has to go in, so we're going to press it down just a little further, maybe 1/8 of an inch more, so that seal will set flush with this outer part of the spindle there. So let me get it knocked down just a little further. That's pretty good. Let me see if that'll get us where we want to be. Alright, yeah, that looks pretty good. Alright, so what I'm going to do is take some of this bearing grease and just put a little more down in there, just to make sure these bearings are good. It comes pre-greased, but we'll add just a little more just to be safe. Go, and then we'll put this seal in. All right, so that is ready to install. Let's get it back over to the knuckle. All right, so back here at the knuckle, I'm going to put just a little bit of grease on this seal here, just so it's not getting overheated. Alright, then we're going to install this beveled edge. We'll go to the inside. I'm just going to lightly coat it with a little bit of grease, just so we don't have any friction there. Here we go. All right, now let's get that spindle put on. And I want this notch there to be to the top as much as I can. So we're going to put it on right there. Next we'll put on the shield. Then I've got the original nuts, but I'm going to put a lock washer underneath it. And we'll put those on here. All that paint that I've put on these as I was cleaning it up, has thickened these clearances. So you kind of have to overcome that or clean it out before you try. All right, let me snug those up. All right, now we'll torque those to 40 foot-pounds. So next we'll get the hub ready, get it pressed onto the new disc, and we'll get it installed. So let me get set up at the bench, and I'll show you what we're going to do next. Alright, so here's the old hub. I've cleaned it up, painted it. It's good to go. I've got a new rotor here for it. So what we're going to do, we've got to press on these new lug studs. And the way this works is this presses in from the back side of the rotor. Just like that, we'll have to press it in, each one of those. To tie those two components together. So let me get set up at the press, and we will see if we can get these pressed in. Alright, so what I've got here is a spacer out of one of my press kits, and then on top this come out of the expansion kit as well. I'll put it right on top of the stud. And we'll press that in. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. We'll press that in just like that till it bottoms out, and we'll give it a little nudge. just for safekeepings. All right. So let me get the rest of these done, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, there's that spacer I used, so that comes in handy. So there it is, all of them are pressed in, and that hub is tight to the rotor. So let's get it back to the bench. We'll go ahead and get these races installed, and we'll be able to get it onto the spindle. So, all right, so here's that inner seal. We'll go ahead and get it pressed in. You can feel it when it bottoms out right there. Very good. All right. This is the inner bearing. It's not pre-lubed, so let's go ahead and get it lubed up. What I'm going to do is take some grease, bearing grease, put it in my hand, and then we're just going to, little at a time, we're going to press it against your palm. I don't know if you can see, but right between this cage and that inner race there, you can see where the grease is starting to come through between those bearings. That's what you want to see. So we'll just keep doing that all the way around until we see every bearing is packed. See that? Just keep cleaning this middle part out. It's messy, but you have to do it. All the way around. Alright, very good. Alright, then we'll just cover it generously. We'll put it right there. Let me get my hands cleaned up, and we'll go from there. Alright, so next we're going to take this seal and we're going to go ahead and press it in right there. Just gently tap it until you get it started. Just get it flush. Reach down in here and grab some of that grease and just coat the inner side of that as well as you can. Alright, now let's flip it over. Try not to get any more than you have to, any grease on your rotor. Alright. Now before we press this race in there for the outer, let's go ahead and pack as much grease as we can down in this area, in the cavity that'll be between the two bearings. Just get it in there as well as you can. Alright. Alright, now let's press this outer race in. Goes way on down in there. You kind of hear it change the tone when it bottoms out. Very good. So that's in there real good. I'm going to pack just a little more grease in that cavity there. Alright, very good. We'll need to pack these bearings as well, so just same way as we did the inners. See that grease squeezing through the bearings there? That's what you want to see. And then we'll just drop those in. Very good. Let me get my hands cleaned up and we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so now back here at the spindle, we're going to go ahead and put this rotor hub. Just going to slide it on Be careful not let your bearing fall out the front side here. Just get it seated up there as well as you can. Just pack that grease back in there. Alright. Now what we're going to do, we have 2 nuts and 2 washers. We're going to take our first washer, and that groove we put on the top, oriented at the top on our spindle. I don't know if you can see it in there, but if you'll recall, we're just going to put this part of the washer into that groove. Press it in there as far as we can. Then we're going to take our first nut and get it threaded on. There we go. Alright. Then we'll take the spindle driver. We want to take that first nut and torque it to 150, and then we're going to back off 1/6. So we're going to torque it to 50. It's starting to get tight. We're going to take it to 50. There's 50. And then if you notice, there's 6 bolts in that. So if you line up on one of those, alright, so we're going to take this driver from here to there, and that's just putting preload on those bearings. Right there. Alright, then we'll take our second washer and we're going to put it on. It's grooved as well. It doesn't matter which orientation you put it. I'm going to put mine this way. There we go. And then you're going to put your second nut on. Alright, and we're going to torque that to 50. Starting to get tight. There's 50. All right. So that hub rotor combination is now on and torqued. So now we're ready to finish this up. So let me. All right, so let's next finish putting this hub together. I've got a little bit of grease in it. You don't want too much. So I'm gonna go ahead and slide it on. There we go. Let's get it torqued. So now let's get this split ring installed. hooks in there. So last up will be the cap. Alright, and this will get torqued to 30 inch-pounds. Not very much. Alright, there's that. Alright, next up, last thing left, let's get the brakes on it, and we'll be able to call this one completed. Alright, so a couple of tips that I found in the process of doing this. I can't remember where I saw it, but if I did, I would give them credit, but I can't remember. But to get this piston out of there, and watch where you put your fingers, but you can take your air, and I've got 30 pounds of pressure on this hose. You don't want a whole lot. It doesn't take a whole lot. But put it here in this hole, and just easily press on it. You see that piston coming out? Just be real careful where you put your fingers. Ooh. That's why you want to be careful where you put your fingers. But that'll push it right out. So now we've got to get this seal back in this groove here. But at the same time, there's a groove on the piston you've got to be in. So the way to do that is to lube up this boot seal. It doesn't take a whole lot. I just use this petroleum jelly. Alright. That's got to go there. And then this lip here has to go there. So the way to do that is to push it all the way to this end so that that is off of it just a fuss. And then you're going to put it in there. Make sure that it's in that groove all the way around. Okay. And then as you push the piston back in, all right, so what we have is this boot is in that top seal of the caliper, and then as we push this in, it's going to slide down, and this lip will catch that groove. All right, see it catch the groove right there? And then as it goes the rest of the way in, that'll fold in. Okay, just like that. I thought that was pretty neat. All right. Thanks. So we're going to put a little bit of brake lube on some of these moving parts. Right in here. This shoe will slot in. Right there. And this other one will go in the caliper. Right there. There's that. I'm just going to clean up a little bit of this grease so it doesn't get on the rotor. Okay. Then we're going to pull this screw out right here. And we've got this wedge and this spring. We are going to wedge in here. That goes right there. And then we'll tighten this down. Okay. All right, guys. So there it is. Sorry for such a long video, but that's a process. Anyway, while we were while we're in the process of doing that, the steering box came in. So I got it installed as well. It's mounted in. Looks pretty heavy duty. Anyway, so off camera I will get the steering linkages installed, the wheels back on it, and this thing will be a roller. I'll get it back on the ground. We shouldn't be but a week or so out from getting the engine back, so I'm looking forward to that. Next time we'll get started on tearing down the transmission and transfer case. I'll get it outside, get it pressure washed off and cleaned up a little bit before we break them apart. And then we'll start going through those. Anyway, that's next time. Ooh, I'm glad that's over with right there though. All right, guys, until next time, thanks for coming by the shop.